Mm. Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. Hi, my name is Bonnie Violet. I'm a trans, femme, genderqueer, spiritual drag artist, and digital chaplain. I'm also a person in recovery from many things.
For many things. And I'm Lulu, and my pronouns are he and him. And I'm a former of Castro Country Club. I'm in recovery for drugs and alcohol, crystal meth and alcohol, drugs and alcohol. And I'm always in search of balance.
And each week we create and provide a brave space where we can talk about topics of recovery.
Yes, and our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for those people in recovery.
Yeah, so what else? Oh, by tackling topics sometimes used to separate us. I'm thrown off a little bit with
I know this is weird, and so you know, before you do anything, subscribe, ding that
share,
bell,
ding that
share.
bell.
Exactly,
Yes.
share, share, share.
Yes.
Oh
And yeah,
my,
hello everyone. We are without Anthony and without Brandon today, our producer, so
exactly. Uh-huh.
good luck to us.
They're showing uh, we're exposed. You get to see our slips.
I know, right? See what it, yeah, see how we are really are without them, because we shall see. For
Absolutely.
sure. So how you been, Lulu? You had a birthday, didn't you?
I did. I had a birthday like this past Sunday. And if you're watching, Anka, I got the birthday card. Thank you so much. It was so sweet.
Aw.
I know. It's
Well,
like I'm
did
like I get back to work on Monday and it's like there's a card there for you and I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God." Okay, it's so cool. I thought it was wonderful.
oh, nice. Did
Thank
you do
you.
anything special to celebrate?
Okay, so I took the day off. I was gonna go to Great America with friends, but then I realized that's not my groove. I'm not like I don't
Mm,
that's not my idea of a good time, not anymore. And so I slept in, then I woke up and I cleaned the hell out of my apartment. Uh, it's amazing how a little space like this can get dirty. But I cleaned my apartment, then I went to lunch at this great place called Brenda's Meat and Three. Had
mm-hmm.
like a ton of food. I was stuffed. Then hung out with friends after a meeting. So that was a good birthday for me.
Nice. It sounds like a great birthday.
Yeah. How are you? How is everything for you?
Good, good. I had a pretty good week after kind of feeling a little cruddy. And I had a drag gig on Saturday. It ended up getting canceled last minute.
Oh
But
wow.
I was
Okay.
yeah, but I was already in drag. So yeah, I was going to be talking with a bunch of hospital chaplains about chaplaincy and being drag, and one of them got COVID and it was an in-person thing.
Uh,
So we had to
no,
kind of like
absolutely.
stop and not do it. So, but I still got in drag and went out to a show. There was a show here in Boise where they were raising money for the Idaho Harm Reduction Project. So it was a lot of
Nice. Okay.
yes, stories about, overdose and overdose prevention and awareness. And so very much kind of in alignment with, like mascara or something.
Absolutely. No, so absolutely. Actually, did I did I mention I performed a couple weeks ago? Actually, I got myself in
Mm.
drag too. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, it's like my facial hair grow, and I like the white in my beard, so it's like I'm usually like, do I want to perform or do I want to keep the
Mm.
sexy older daddy look? Hey,
Right. You don't do the bearded queen look, huh?
no, okay, so this is controversial, but it's like I believe that I never. Okay, so I'm like this. If you're gonna do the bitter queen look, you got to really do it. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I've seen too many people do it. It doesn't look good. Like you were great. Like when you would do it, and you had your lips and everything, and your makeup was exquisite and all that good stuff. A lot of people didn't do that. So
Uh,
and then I used to tell you the one thing that didn't happen is like
my
it's so
lips.
easy when well, yeah, when you first start doing it, if you're not careful, you can get muted behind the makeup and everything.
Mm,
And so it takes a while for whatever personality you have to kind of shoot past beyond. Like so many people who see it and they see you doing it and it looks effortless, think that it is effortless, but it really requires
yeah.
it requires some you know you stepping out of yourself. Okay, that's our
Mhm.
drag. drag 101 for everybody. Hey.
I'm sure there's some spiritual talk in there too, you know?
No, absolutely. And I think this is why, like, okay, so I feel like I have been able to connect with me more than I have ever been able to connect with me, and I'm more comfortable in my skin as a result of doing drag, as a result of doing theater, as a result of public speaking or doing things that cause me to kind of have to kind of maybe in some ways exaggerate who I am a little, or kind of make it a little grander. I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally. So for folks who are watching, do say hello, make some comments in the comment section. Today we are going to be trying something new, I guess. We're going to try to react a little bit to like some stuff from the past, I guess. We're going to watch I think our first episode and
Yes.
kind of, I don't know, maybe poke fun at ourselves, maybe expound on some things. I'm not sure.
We
So,
play it by ear.
right. And for folks who are watching, if you end up having some sort of sound concerns or whatever, just let us know and we'll make the adjustments. So are we ready to do this, Lulu?
Yeah, there you just know you're taking this journey with us the first time. We're trying new things. This is the beauty of recovery. Hey. Okay, yeah.
Hey, right. So the first thing we
Uh-huh,
were gonna
exactly.
do was play a clip. I guess, we had made like when we first started, we like decided we needed to make a commercial or whatever, and we like shot some photos and some video with Luke, Ashley Madison for folks who might know him in drag. But so this was kind of some clips from that. I think it might have been an initial version. It was some sort of promo that we used, yeah?
Yeah, don't be shocked.
Right. Okay, let's do this thing.
Let's talk about recovery.
Did somebody say recovery?
Let's talk about creating safe spaces in Castro.
Did somebody say recovery?
Let's talk about meetings, sex and recovery.
Sober sex? Did somebody say dick?
Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about Oh my God. I was telling you before, like, because I feel like I hadn't seen that in 100 years. It felt so dramatic.
Oh, I know, right? Well, when we had no clue what we were doing, it was just like, we were just like playing around.
I
Thanks
know, I
for letting
know. Go
thanks for
ahead.
letting us know. It sounds good, Robert. Glad you could join us
Thank
and
you.
hear
Thank
us.
you.
For
You know what's
sure.
crazy too? Okay, so like oh God, I hated the spinning around and that that yeah, I thought it was so silly. Do you realize how okay, so it really the way you were did somebody say dick? I was like thinking that when I made that face, it kind of made you sound like an airhead.
Right?
I'm like, I don't think that was the intention.
Right. That's the power of editing, right?
I think that was how it was actually filmed. I don't think there was any editing.
Right. You were really like, what the hell? Yeah, I think I
What's
didn't.
going on?
I was surprised that I even said it. I shocked
Yeah,
myself because we were just spinning around and just saying whatever kind of came to our minds. So
it was so weird because it's like I mean, we were doing it. It wasn't like kind of at the height like of the shelter in place and everything. So it was pretty like yeah,
yeah, it
but
was.
it was cool.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit after that, but yeah, there was still like might have been like right after shelter in place kind of opened up a little bit, or I don't know. It was like a year and some change ago.
Yeah, not wild. Hmm.
It's totally wild. But yeah, yeah. And do you think that we've achieved that? You know what we attempted to set out to do?
I feel like we've surpassed that. because I think that what we had, I feel like what we had in mind in the beginning, like, uh, is, we've definitely done that. We've had these conversations, we've opened up, but I think that even adding Anthony to the mix, like,
Hmm.
I feel like we've gone further, and we can still go further.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, I love that we've had so many guests on as well. There,
Absolutely.
we have also like another clip that I think this might have been from our second episode, but it was just kind of another little intro that we could share. This one I think is a little cringy, but let's do it.
Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues with Bonnie Violet
And Lulu.
Where did Lulu go?
Each week, we will provide and create a brave space where we engage in conversations around topics of recovery.
And our intention is to inspire better spaces for more people in recovery.
By tackling topics used to separate us.
So before we do that, please like, comment, and share this episode with anybody you think might appreciate it.
Nice.
Wasn't that like an like it was clipped off as like an advertisement that I think when we were thinking, okay, we can post it in the club on the screen or something or other.
Yeah,
I
or it
don't
was
know.
like for some gala, or there was maybe even mascara that they.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What about that background?
Which one was which? Oh, the brick, right? Wasn't that
The
the brick?
brick. Yeah, the brick.
That was a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah, I know. We were.
Robert says at the CCC you could feel safe enough to say the things you need to.
Absolutely. I think when you surround yourself, we talk about this idea of your tribe, but when you surround yourself with people kind of are moving in the same direction that you are, especially in early recovery, then you can say the things that you feel, say what you need to say. But even more importantly, if you step out of line or whatever, you can talk about it and apologize or make amends so that you don't make the same mistake. So yeah, that is the gift of recovery, that we are constantly we're constantly editing and trying to become better versions of ourselves. At least I hope so.
Yeah. I would agree with that. So we're going to put on the first episode, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna try this again. We'll like do a little start and stop. For folks who are live with us, yeah, feel free to ask us questions and interact with us. All right, so here we go. Look at them.
I know.
Who is she though?
Hey.
Back when we waited for the music to stop before we talked, huh?
I know, that had to be annoying.
Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues with Bonnie Violet.
And Lulu.
Each week, we will provide and create a brave space where we engage
Notice
in
I've never gotten to the
conversations
place
around
where
topics of
I look at the
recovery.
camera.
Our intention is to inspire better spaces.
Right? Well,
for
yeah, I don't
more
know. Is it
people in
supposed to be
recovery.
the fourth
By
wall or whatever they
tackling
refer
topics
to?
used to separate us.
I think so.
Absolutely. And so before we
Maybe I should sign in
begin,
from home more
please
often
like,
because I
comment,
look
and
at the
share,
camera
and
this way.
most important,
Oh, yeah.
subscribe.
So the
Bonnie
audience
Violet,
actually
how
looks
are
like
you
you're
doing?
talking to
Oh,
them.
I'm doing pretty good.
Anything special happened to you this week?
Anything special?
Let's
happened
see
to
what
me this
happened to
week?
her.
I filmed a music video with like choreography and a girl band, everything. It was really cool.
All right now.
No
all right,
kidding.
now. For those of you watching, isn't Bonnie Violet? She's looking amazing.
Right.
Wonderful. So
Look at me coming on to you. It's like, all right, come on. Hey, Bonnie.
Right.
How
Well-
are you doing?
Right. Well, I remember in the beginning too, you're like, I started out wearing drag. I think in most of the beginning episodes, and you're like, girl, you're not going to do that forever. and definitely eventually that did happen. I think, it's been interesting because I've been transitioning on
Uh-huh.
camera to some degree, right? And so like in the beginning, I hid a lot in my drag, I think. So I think it was a little easier for me to start off this series and this podcast when I was in drag because I don't know, I felt, that what I mean, I just felt a little bit more comfortable, I think.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think the beautiful thing is in talking to you and being a part of this. I mean, I understand this now. The Lulu back then would not have gotten it. That's why it's the easy thing to say. I'm thinking I'm being of service to you by saying you don't need to do that. You're beautiful just the way you are, girl.
Mhm. Well, and it was
No.
helpful for sure. Yeah, it was totally helpful. And I don't even think yeah, like I didn't realize it at that time. Like at that time, I wouldn't have told you that I was like trying to hide, in my drag, or I didn't feel comfortable in my transness, or, in public or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I would have
Uh-huh.
had the awareness or the ability to really talk about it at that time.
Look at our names on there too. I don't think that we had settled on Lulu.
Well, and that was before the conversation of like Bonnie Violet. I mean, it took us a while to get our producer on board. We
Yeah,
can say that since he's not here, right?
I know exactly. He's out in the desert doing his thing. He's at Burning Man.
Was Burning Man all week?
Yeah, I think so. Burning Man all week. It's like I can't imagine being in the desert that long. I can't like come on now. It's like driving through the desert. Hey, that's cool. And then we look at the sights and then we go on to the next.
Right.
I'm actually going to be in Palm Springs in about a week and a half or so, and that's the closest I'm going to get to. That's my idea of Burning Man.
Mm, right, where you still have some AC and some like
Absolutely, in a pool and
an
no
actual
no dust that.
toilet.
Thank you. No dust that you have to get like explosives to clean off of you.
Right, right. Not that we're yucking people's yums. Just it's
No,
not
no, no,
ours.
not at all. By all means, if that's what you enjoy, enjoy it.
Hmm. Completely.
Me, I think there was a lot that went down, but this morning I kind of started. Well, actually, I started the journey last week, but I started the journey of exercise again. I joined
Oh
Fitness
God.
SF here in San
Oh,
Francisco. Obviously, that's the SF part.
Right.
But I feel like this
how
That
is
time,
journey
and
didn't last that
last time
long.
I said it was a fat tax because I think I went for 4 years and didn't, or I paid for 4 years and I really didn't go. But this time I met with a trainer and laid out a program. And so I feel like I'm on the journey now. It's just a matter of me doing the work, you know?
Yeah, that's great. You were just talking about that like a week or so ago that you were wanting to do that, and look at you, you're doing it.
Well, it's interesting. It's like, I mean, this is a nice little segue into what we're talking about today. There's the stages of recovery or getting better. It's like I had been in the contemplative stage of wanting to work out forever, and finally, like I'm in the action phase. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, those are what stages of change.
Absolutely, the stages of change.
the stages have changed?
Absolutely.
Right.
You know what's interesting? It's like okay, so obviously, like I joke about that journey being slow, but I had taken, but like the last 3 months, it's like I was just not doing it, and I'm ready to go back to the gym again, which is
Mm,
pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
yay!
I miss our backdrop. I really
Yeah, I
thought
know.
that
Well,
looked
you know what
good.
that back, you know what's interesting with that backdrop? I feel like we should have all of this greenery in front of us, like we're at a state dinner. Yeah,
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, but that green
yeah, the back.
screen and everything it was so much to try to set up every week and get the lighting exactly right.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize green screens were that I guess finicky, touchy.
And so for people listening, the reason why we had the green screen, the club wasn't still 100% fully open, and we had our studio in the front room where meetings take place, and so we didn't have to take anything down. The green screen stayed up, and I think the reason why we don't have the backdrop is because each week we have to come from wherever we're coming from and
Mm.
set up our studio. And it's not always easy because one of us is always running from somewhere, and Bonnie's in Idaho.
Right, right. I'm so conveniently like not there.
I know. It's like the steps we will take so that you don't have to like set up the room and
I
tear
know,
it
right?
down.
Yeah, my whole choice to do all this traveling was just so I didn't have to set up for this podcast, right?
It's I when we first started, like, and he said we were gonna have to set it up, I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be terrible. But it
Mm,
honestly it is not so bad. It's like it's actually really easy.
yeah, yeah, it
But if
seems.
you're someone who lives in the area and you are wanting to participate in production and be a part of this podcast, by all means, come by. We want to show you how this works, get you on the air, get you behind the scenes if you're not comfortable in air. Just be a part of, because this is for the country club and this is for our community.
Yes, yes, and like if folks can do editing or even just you're interested in editing, I think we could do a lot more. We talked about, like ways we could try to promote the podcast a little bit more. And smaller clips, I think, are a little bit easier for some people to digest.
Absolutely.
Should we just play from where it's at or skip through?
Yes,
We
keep
should just
playing.
change.
All right.
So today we're talking about the different paths to recovery, and we're going to focus a little bit on the why.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was thinking about like, okay, so when we first thought about the path to recovery, I was thinking, a lot of times we have to ask the question, why do people recover? Why do people go that route? Honestly, there's a lot of folks who kind of stay kind of like stagnant and don't find recovery. But something that I wanted to share, because I was looking this up, because thank God for Google. Right?
Back before Anthony, huh?
I typed in
I
what
know.
it really
Anthony's
is to
our Google
recover,
now.
and some of the things, and these are all sweet, to stop hating yourself, for the first person who said they would never give up on you. So you won't be the only one drinking Diet Coke while everybody's having pizza. I don't know. These are all super random, but yeah.
Right. So why did you consider recovery?
Well, I
Listen
think
to
that I
her
had finally
I
gotten to a
know.
place
asking the
where
questions.
I know this is. I think we were still
I
like not
realized that
certain
I
what
wasn't
this
moving
was going to
forward
be
in my
about. So
life.
of
My
course
relationships,
we were
my
interviewing
relationships
each
at work,
other.
they were just
Right?
stagnant. I had no joy. I had nothing to look forward to, and I was slowly killing myself. I think that because of my relationship to alcohol and crystal meth, like I always said that the longer that I was participating, that I was kind of chipping away at my soul. So I had nothing to go on for, and I think that for me, I reached a point where it was either that or I, you know, just be done completely.
Right.
I don't want to be morbid, but that was just a lousy existence. What about you?
Yeah, I mean,
Gio, would you add anything to that now, Lulu?
Not really. I mean, it's like I was a little hesitant to say that I probably would have killed myself or
Mm,
unalived myself, as they put it. And so I was tiptoeing around that. That's the part where I was kind of like, you know, I don't want to be morbid or whatever. But the reality was, it's like there was nothing for me. It's like my life was just small and kind of, yeah. And so, yeah, the sentiment is still there. I mean,
hmm
and I don't know if you noticed, but I think I was getting a little choked up.
Right? A
Yeah.
little, yes, for sure.
I think for me, I was at a state of like in a lot of ways there was some really great things going for me. I was running a nonprofit that I felt like I was really part of something that was bigger than me.
Yeah.
But I was starting to make really dumb mistakes when I was drinking and things that were like jeopardizing, I think, my reputation and just my morals, I guess. And I was just afraid that if I continued, I would ruin all that. And like it was about really trying to show up for that thing that was bigger than me, which was like my purpose around like HIV/AIDS prevention and things like that.
So the path that you chose, like 12 step, was that your initial, like, or
Well,
yeah.
I think that was my initial like first
Okay,
time of
Barbara Walters,
saying,
I'm all.
I know,
hey, I have
right?
a problem.
So tell me
I
more.
had, and I honestly, like, it was somebody told me, because I woke up, it was Mother's Day morning, and I just was feeling really crappy. It wasn't like after the night that I drank the most or, anything like that. But he suggested that I go to AA because he thought alcohol was maybe my problem. And I thought I was doing asshole kind of things. And so I thought if I just removed the alcohol, then I wouldn't be an asshole anymore. I really didn't think I had a problem with it. I just thought maybe if I didn't do it, I might start to get better results in life. And then actually, once I actually started the recovery process, it was a lot harder. I hadn't realized how much in my life and how much just life in general centers around alcohol or partying or that sort of thing. And so until I actually went to get rid of it, I didn't realize how much it had consumed my life.
Absolutely.
We were definitely a lot more timid, huh?
Oh, I think so. It's like, because there wasn't even any room for us to joke with one another. So I'm going to ask you the same question you asked me. Is there anything that you might want to add to like what you shared?
No, I mean, the only other thing that kind of came to mind that I thought I would have said was that I had like quit meth years before,
Uh-huh.
and not in a program or anything like that. So I think coming to realize, I don't think I realized until like 3 years in my recovery that my recovery journey had actually started years
Oh yeah.
before that. You know what I mean?
No, I feel like yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's like as much as I want to believe that recovery started once I like stepped into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or CMA, but no, I was on that journey before. It's just that I was taking steps that were leading me to, and whether or not you call that harm reduction or whatever, I was doing the things that was going to get me to the point that I'm at now. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, and sometimes I feel like I see so I haven't had the experience at least once I got into the rooms, knock on wood, that I haven't relapsed, I haven't had to like come back, so to speak, as they say. But I think that's because I just was never exposed to the program before then. You know what I mean? I think if I would have started the
Exactly.
program anytime sooner, there's a good chance I wouldn't have got sober and relapse would have been a part of that process. So I think sometimes I feel so I see people really struggle with relapsing, and I just feel like it really crushes, like it just seems like a very difficult experience. And I think some of it is just it's just part of the, like, it was part of my process too. It just
Uh-huh.
it just didn't happen in the rooms. Like I relapsed plenty of
Yeah.
times before I got to the rooms to where I
Right.
didn't have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That was the same with me. It's like I was talking to someone else today about that. It's like, so I'm grateful and I don't understand why it worked for me, but I realize I don't need to understand. I In the reading they talk about all the different ways I tried to change my behavior and all the different, and I did all of those things. I
Mm.
just trying to switch to like with what when it came to alcohol, trying to switch to beer, trying to do this, trying to do that, or whatever. When it came to drugs, only doing coke so that I could go to sleep. I
Right.
tried everything because I want, I wanted to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do, and it wasn't until like I was able to kind of accept that what I needed, and this is just for me, what I needed was complete abstinence.
Mhm.
Uh, then that's when things really started to kind of change. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and play it again.
Absolutely. I think that for
Yeah.
me, I did all the things that you normally do, like growing up. I was a woo-woo girl,
A
I,
woo.
I drank,
I
I
was a woo
drank,
woo girl.
I did those things like I was supposed to do. And I was actually a late bloomer because I didn't really start drinking till I was 23.
I was
But
late too.
yeah, but for me, I think that like I'm obviously like I'm in 12, well, not obviously if you don't know me, but I'm in 12 step now, but it wasn't my initial path. I think I tried going with a therapist, but obviously I wasn't able to be honest with that therapist, and I had some recovery. I had some recovery for a short time, but from there, kind of like with you, I was able to kind of get suggestions from folks, and I followed my heart.
Yeah.
Actually, I went into a treatment program called Acceptance Place here in San Francisco, and from there, I was able to kind of make the transition into 12 step and other forms of recovery.
Yeah, and I hadn't, when I was getting sober, I realized, like looking back, how many times
Oh, we did.
I was actually already starting. I had started
We
to
did
try to
say that.
recover
We just cut
before like I
ourselves off
officially
before we
joined the
could, huh?
program.
What's
And
that?
like
What's
We're
that?
unfortunately,
we're
because
talking about what we were
I
just
stopped,
talking about.
I stopped meth, and then I was just drinking, and You know, it was weird. I was 3 years into recovery. I moved to Chicago and I was introduced to CMA. And that's when I started identifying as an addict because I loved crystal meth. That
Is there
actually
an
is like
echo in
probably my
here?
drug of choice next to
It's an
ecstasy.
echo
But
chamber,
the
exactly.
way that I was in my life, I knew that that would even jeopidize more. So I had to do drink because
Do you
it
know?
was
Do you
legal.
realize, like, okay, so at the beginning,
Mhm.
and maybe we can give ourselves a report card on how we've done. But I think that going into this, we wanted this to be about recovery and not just 12-step recovery. But what I'm finding is that I can only speak on what I know,
Mhm.
and that like as I think initially tiptoeing in and wanting to be careful about not seeming like ambassadors for AA, I've gotten to a place where, you know what, I'm telling my story. You know, I'm speaking my, and you know, occasionally we do chime in and say, you know, we don't represent anyone else, but it's like it's hard to tell tell a story about a program I'm not in. And I
Mhm.
think that I don't know, in my opinion, I think that we do a really good job of, you know, talking about these things without coming off as if we're the authority on it, you know?
Right, right.
Although,
I would agree with that too, but and also though, I think that yeah, I think initially we did maybe want to try to like speak to every person in every type of recovery, and I don't know how realistic that is, but I do feel like we've been able to talk about the many diverse ways that you can experience like 12-step recovery. You know what I mean? Or that
yeah,
through our own experiences. I think we've done that fairly well and done our best to try not to say we don't know the right way. We are not saying this is whatever. This is just our experience with it or our guest's experience with it or, you know, that sort of thing for sure.
yeah.
But I had actually like taken a moment where like I got off meth. Like I moved home with my parents back in Idaho. I lived in a camp trailer and I got
Who'd
off of
live in
meth,
Idaho?
but I never saw that as me having a problem. Like it was just like, girl's tired.
I think one of the first times I
She's still
tried
tired.
to get better, I didn't see it. I didn't see that the drugs and alcohol were an issue. I felt like I was exhausted. You know how celebrities are all. I was tired, and I needed some time to kind of regroup.
What is that,
Right,
Lulu?
right. Well, it
That's
was
me being
interesting
traumatic.
because, you
I'm
know,
a
even like before, say, recovery around my substance use and stuff, my substance use was actually, I think, part of my recovery from like the trauma, spiritual trauma and trauma of like realizing that I was queer and being diagnosed with HIV and not being able to bring that to like my spiritual community and having to leave church and like those, it was a very traumatic experience for me. So I think drugs and alcohol, they gave me life and they allowed me to live a life that I couldn't have lived on my own. And so I'm very appreciative to drugs and alcohol for the time that they were good for me. You know, eventually, you know, it got to a place where I needed to, because I felt like drugs and alcohol softened the blow of life.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, it wasn't doing that anymore. It wasn't softening the blow anymore. And so I had to let go of it in order to try to find some sort of relief.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I can look back on it, and I think it's in retrospect because at the time, and even early recovery, I couldn't tell you that I had gratitude for the drugs and alcohol, but I had reached a point where I didn't deal with the emotions. I didn't have the bandwidth, and I think that I would have, you know, I probably would have done something drastic, maybe tried suicide or whatever, but I just
oh,
couldn't
I
deal
guess I
with it.
did
And
say it.
so
You did
like you
it.
said, it softened the blow.
You
Yeah.
said the
It
unalive
it
word.
helped me to kind of get through.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when one of at the beginning, I think that it was depression because I always say at the beginning of the heaviest part of my drug use, it was a dark place and it was a depression, and it was because
It
of
was the
my
darkest of
relationship
times.
too, and
Right.
that I was able to get through that without like too many consequences. I mean,
Should we
obviously, I was
jump?
doing a lot of damage to
Yeah, let's
myself,
jump.
but
Let's just
Right.
like click a
Well,
spot.
I
and whatever.
Yeah, just
And
click a spot.
It was like you never
through
even
that
stopped.
process and through recovery and through doing the work constantly, and I think the work is being aware of things that
Did
people
you
need
was
click
to
a
like,
do.
stop?
I
Did you?
realized
I
that
did. I was like 20 minutes
I wasn't a
later,
very good
and
steward of my money.
it's you again.
Like I didn't have a relationship, or I didn't understand
I mean,
the value
I
of
will
kind of
admit I do talk a
or
lot.
respect for the dollar, and
It's
it was a
always a
struggle, and it was
ebb and
painful,
flow.
and I
I
had to
think
go through a lot of
even, you know,
times
bringing on
my
Anthony, I think that we're all, I love that there's like, I love that there's always been the two of us, but there's three of us now because, you know, we do have different days where some days we're in our heads and other times we're like able to speak from our hearts. And oftentimes, I think one of the things that, like, what would you say, has there been any surprises for you through this process?
Um, well, I think that they have. I mean, nothing stands out other than the fact that, like, we've been able to, like, I didn't know that I was going to be able to use this to work through, like, you remember I would come in and talk about my situation with my friend that I had a falling out with, and really
Mm-hmm.
kind of passionately, like, it was a lot of this. I believe what we do on the podcast is like fifth step work, you know,
Right.
opening my mouth and saying. And then even last episode and talking with Anthony or whatever, and getting to this place where it's like, okay, so I've always been this type, like I will joke about this, that, whatever. And in the past, I didn't really care, or maybe I cared, but I didn't show that I cared about how it affected someone else. But to be able to kind of, like we say, in real time, correct each other and say, yeah, this is not okay, you know, or I don't know. I love that we have gotten so used to and comfortable with each other that we can be light. There's levity because
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about heavy stuff, it's like sometimes you, like I always say, it's like we have to laugh about it or our head's gonna fucking explode, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I will say I definitely, I mean, I knew that our relationship would grow, you know, and I was excited about that. But I think just in general, I think I didn't realize how, I mean, I did kind of want to try to set myself up to where I had to kind of talk about things in my life that were happening in real time because it can be really easy. I think, especially going to recovery rooms or, you know, like it's so easy to speak to my old narrative, like the narrative I used to have. And so I think the thing that's helpful here is I do get to speak to that too, right? Do get to speak about my past experience, but been able to just also just bring to the table. You know, I think there was one, I can't remember if it was this one or another clip we were listening to earlier, and it was like, oh, we don't need to do a therapy session this time. Not that we're doing therapy with one another, but I feel like, you know, we've been able to bring some pretty like difficult or challenging like situations to, you know, to this space
Absolutely, absolutely.
for sure. We are we are
thing that we're
down
having, but it's like
to, yeah, we're
eventually
good.
I was able to
I'm gonna jump
get
again.
and getting
Yeah, jump and
It's
hopefully I
connected
won't be
around
talking.
where
20
it is you
minutes
need to
later and it's
be.
still you.
If that where you need to be is church or a meeting or
Church. Did you tell
wherever
me to go to
with a
church?
therapist or
I told you to go to church,
a
exactly.
group of folks that
I'm all, you need
you know
Jesus.
some
You
You
need
need
yeah
Jesus.
I
Jesus.
want to say support groups support groups or self-help groups.
What do you think are some of the, like, regardless of the program, what seems to
You know why I
be,
keep
are there
talking?
some
Because you keep asking
universal
me questions.
Right, right. I think this is a good question. I'm curious to hear what you say.
kind
Yeah.
of parts of all of it that kind of like,
The
I don't know,
universal
does the same thing?
truths.
Like the thing that comes to mind for me is connection and
Connection, yeah.
like community, like being able to, it seems like whatever program, whatever thing you're in,
I just
it's really
answered
about
the
kind of
question I
being
asked
around
you.
like maybe like-minded or like afflicted people who are trying to like be well in the same way. So I think the fact of not being isolated and not being just with myself what is a big part, and I think I see that in most recovery.
Absolutely. And then I think that that part about communicating what it is you're going through and getting it out, Like I always say, and I'm sure I borrowed this from someone else, that you don't hold on to the stuff that's inside. You give it back to the universe.
Yeah, you have to give it away.
Yeah, you got to
in order to
give
keep
back.
it.
Kind of like with love. It's like I'm all love is not love until you share it. Oh, isn't that sweet? Huh?
Aw.
Listen to
Yeah, so I think
us.
that's a common thing
I
too,
know,
probably.
exactly.
I mean, I think it took, I wonder if, I think the fact that knowing that other people have recovered, I think it has been really helpful. So I think the idea of hearing other people's stories and hearing other people's success, I think whether it's done in the educational variety or via mental health or research or, just people sharing at a meeting, I
Aw,
think that's a big part.
Brandon,
It makes
Brandon,
it makes a difference.
Right?
I think for me, when I came in, I was in such a place that I needed something, and I initially wanted people to do it for me. I don't know
Right.
about you, but I don't want to have to do the hard
came
heavy
later
lifting
on.
myself. I wanted people to do the work for me, to think for me, and yeah, no, and it really makes a difference when you see other people who are happy. Because I remember for 12 when I came into the rooms and people were laughing and carrying on or whatever, and I'm like, okay, what is this? What's going on? Are you guys laughing at me? Because there was still residual
Because it's
stuff.
still all about you.
Yeah, come on, you know how that works.
I was
Right.
thinking the same thing.
They're talking about you.
They're talking about me exactly.
Yes.
So I feel like we've come to the tail end of our conversation.
We're getting there. There was
How do we close out?
gosh, there was something I was going to bring up when we were talking. Oh, I was like, so I think one of the things that I was helpful to remind myself around recovery when I got in recovery that I think is probably common. It's like, we don't grow, like I didn't grow up seeing a healthy way of like, and no shade to the people I grew up around. Like, I love you, and
We're
it's
all
not
raised by wolves.
it's not a judgment, but I didn't know how to live life differently. And the thing about it is, it wasn't just about trying it; it was about doing it over and over and over. And I remember feeling like it felt really unnatural. So I feel like if people are in that recovery process and it's feeling really unnatural or just feeling really awkward or weird or uncomfortable, that's like, for me, that was a good thing. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
it's
was
okay.
me starting to create a new groove and a new nature. Cause my nature was not to be sober. My nature was not to be, not full of myself, and so I had to begin to create a new nature. And so now it's more commonplace. It's more awkward for me to not pray when I feel a certain way, or to not go to a meeting when I feel a certain way, or to not talk shit about people, like those sorts of things. It's just become my nature now.
Yes, exactly.
That I don't even have to really think about it anymore. It's just like automatic.
It requires work.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's
of
like,
course it
no,
does.
but it requires work. But it's worth it, because I mean, it's like, they say it's like you work it because you're worth it. Like I realize now today that all that I do is because I love myself, and this exercise of self-love means that I'm going to try. I'm looking down at the screen. I'm going
Right.
to I'm going to try the things that work for me. I think that I don't get to rest on yesterday's recovery.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that what I'm doing today sustains me and keeps me going. And I don't want to just be stagnant. I don't want to be stagnant. So I think this road for me is constantly going, because I'm not recovered. I'm never going to be, I'm recovered, but I'm never going to be completely free from this malady. And so I get to constantly find ways to make this creative fun.
Does your one of the things that
So
Oh,
I
it's
just,
it's it's
I
so
had
good,
nothing to go on for.
but we are running out of time. Back then we did an
I know,
hour
I know.
show.
Oh yeah, no, it's like we were gonna talk. We were gonna talk for 3 hours, and you were gonna listen. And
Right.
actually, I don't. I think there's probably only two or three people listening. No, it's really cool to kind of watch that. I mean, it's like I go back and watch some of our like more recent episodes, and a lot of it is mainly just to see what kind of how, because you don't know how you show up, and some
Mhm.
wanting to make sure like if there's something that I can correct, but also it's funny to kind of go back and because you get that feeling of sensation we have, like we were laughing and carrying on or whatever, and oh, maybe I need to go back and watch that and see if like I was if I need to tone it down or well, whatever.
Right. And
I don't know.
so
It's
how can people get a hold of you?
Well, if you need to get in touch with me, you can always reach me at the gram at LouieLou86. You can go there and you can send me direct messages. Yes, exactly. How
All
about
right.
you?
Well, you can reach me at a queer chaplain on all the things YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Check out my queerchaplain.org, or there is a Dragon Spirituality Summit that's taking place just a little over a month away. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me as well. We want to send out a little love to Anthony, who isn't with us today.
Absolutely.
But you can reach Anthony on his Instagram at alucasccc.
And
Or
he might respond.
he might.
Yeah, or you can reach us at podcast@countryclub.org on our new Castro Country Club website. It's really easy to find us.
Yes. And then you also could leave us a voice message on our speak pipe. You can leave questions, comments, or whatever, and maybe you'll hear yourself on one of our future episodes. It's www.speakpipe.com/@the CCC.
At the CCC, exactly. And tune in every Tuesday at 4 p.m. when we go live on our Castro Country Club Facebook page or any YouTube channels.
Awesome. And find us wherever you listen to podcasts at the CCC. We'd also love to hear what you think about this little format. We were just giving it a shot. We weren't super thrilled about the idea of just canceling on y'all for like 1 week, and so we wanted to try to at least show up and be present with you, even if we were a little, if we were down a couple of folks.
We're down a couple folks. Hey, the show must go on.
Right. And then
There's no business.
do we need to share? Did you want to talk about the Castro Country Club? Can you recall that mission statement?
I was actually looking it up and I can't find it because I don't have it. So I
It's
just
a
want to
clean and
say,
sober.
I know exactly.
Awesome.
No,
Well,
I don't have it.
check
I
out
know.
check
I can't
out
find.
the information in our description, and you can learn more about the Castro Country Club. You can go to castrocountryclub.org. All right. Well, I think that's all we need to do for today. So I think I can play some music here, and we can say
Play
goodbye.
some music. Yeah.
Oh, I'm playing it, but the
Bye
volume.
bye.